by Junji Ito is the story of a small town that falls victim to a curse surrounded by spirals. The citizens of the town are affected by this in various ways, with people becoming frightened, paranoid, obsessed, or being changed completely by the spirals. It has some of the most amazing creepy imagery that I have ever seen in my life. This makeup is based on a character who becomes so terrified of the spirals that upon noticing her fingerprints are spiral shaped, she then cuts off the tips of her fingers. Later then goes on to digging out her inner ear with a pair of scissors. So that gives you an idea of where the story goes. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid latex, I'm going to put it on the tips of my fingers, and I'm then going to lay some tissue on top of that, and then some more latex. That's just to create a bit of texture for the underneath of the wound. I find if it looks completely flat, it just looks odd, so this just makes it a little bit more interesting, I guess. I wanted to add an exposed bone to one finger, just again to make things a little bit more interesting, so I'm just taking a cotton bud, Q-tip, whatever called. And I'm just going to cut the end off of that. I'm going to leave the cotton part on one end, just because it kind of replicates the small joint in the bone that's there in your finger. I mean, it's not anatomically correct by any means, but again, it just adds an extra dimension to the makeup. You want to wait for that to dry completely before moving on to the next step, which is taking the tub of the devil, aka nose and scar wax. I said in my last video that the only wax worth working with is Ben Nye nose and scar wax, and that's very true, but here I'm actually using a different wax because, I don't know, I hate myself probably. No, I have to use up all the other waxes that I have somehow, so this seemed like a simple makeup to try to do that with. First of all, you want to cover your fingertips and your sculpting tools in Vaseline. It just stops the wax sticking to everything and makes it a little bit more manageable. Just scoop out a couple of little pieces that you're going to roll out later, and they will be the skin around the fingertip wounds. Roll out the wax so it's kind of like a snake or a sausage kind of shape, and then just lay it down on the finger where you want it around the latex that you've already put down. Then you just want to work on smoothing out the edges and blending it into your skin. You can just press it down with your fingers, use a sculpting tool, whatever works for you. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not a difficult process as such, it's just a little bit time consuming. Just repeat that for each of the finger wounds, just change the shape accordingly. For the last finger, I'm just using two long flat pieces of wax to make it look as though the skin has opened but hasn't torn away completely and has therefore exposed the bone. When you're happy enough with the shape you've achieved, you want to go in with a sponge just to add in some skin texture so that the surface of the wax isn't completely different to your own skin. Usually after I've done that, I'll just go back in with a sculpting tool just to relift any parts that have become flat from the pressure of the sponge, but just go in gently, just don't, completely mash it. So this is where we are with it at the moment. It's ready for paint now. Like I said, this is just a quick simple makeup, so I'm just going to go in with some powder and some cream paints. I am going to add quite a bit of blood here, so I'm not concerned with matching the skin tone too much. I'm just going to take a powder that's similar to my skin and just dab that all over the wax to take away the shine and blend it in a little bit better. Now for the paint, I'm going to take a kind of pinky, fleshy kind of colour and use that just to paint around the edges of the wounds and use that as a base colour. I'm going to go around all the edges of the textured parts inside the wounds with a dark brown. I find that using a black just looks a bit too unnatural, so I'm just going to use a light brown just to add some illusion of depth. And then for the really gory, meaty, fleshy parts, I'm going to go in with a dark red, and also I like to add in a bit of yellow for like the fatty tissue. It just breaks things up a little bit, I guess. This voiceover is really diabolical, I'm so sorry. I'm half losing my voice, I don't know why, and then I keep forgetting what I'm going to say, but hey, we're like 4 minutes in now, we can do this. Well, I can do it. I don't know if you can do listening to it, but if you did, congratulations. Anyway, where were we? Ah, yes. I add quite a lot of blood to this, so I'm not being very fussy about the paint job. I'm just kind of in and out getting it done. And that's pretty much all your base work done, so it's not a difficult makeup. I think it's pretty good for beginners. It's not hyper realistic, but it's a bit of fun. So for the blood application, starting off with something like a thick blood or a scab blood, I'm just going to use a sculpting tool to pack out the wounds. I like to use it to lift the wax and to raise the edges, just again to add depth. Then I'll go in with a blood that is slightly thinner but not completely liquid and just dot that in and around the wound. I like to generally dot the blood all over and then use a cotton bud or a cloth to take some of the blood away. You don't want to saturate everything in blood because it just covers up everything you've just done. You may as well have just dipped your hand in a bucket of red paint. I'm also going to take a stipple sponge and just add some blood drops around the hand. And we are done. Thank you very much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you do decide to recreate this, I'd really love to see it. You can tag me in your pictures on Instagram or Twitter, and my links are in the description box below. Please don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and a thumbs up if you hated this video, and please don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe, and thank you very much. I will see you in the next one.